Today we're speedrunning Phineas and Ferb web games, and a lot of these are really cool runs. And for our first game, we have Agent P Strikes Back. In this game, we get to play as Perry the Platypus as we go through the second dimension. If you remember, the second dimension is from the Phineas and Ferb movie. It was a very good movie, and this is also a really good game. Now we're gonna play as Perry, and we have a couple different moves we can use. Obviously, we can move in all the different directions, we can jump, and we can double jump, along with jumping off walls. And we also use plungers to jump off walls, which is very interesting. But yeah, at the beginning, it's just teaching us how to play the game using our different abilities. There are going to be these big robots, which I'm not going to worry about too much. In fact, for some of these guys, we're just going to run straight through them, not even try to dodge them. Also, our major right there is shirtless. Not exactly sure why he's doing that, but we also want to rescue our fellow secret agents. There are a total of 3 secret agents we have to rescue in each level, and you'll see they open doors for us, so it is very important to actually get them. Our next one is going to be up here. We can just wall jump there, and we're going to use our magnet powers. That way we won't accidentally stick to the wall. It's just a little bit of a safety thing. From here, I then want to take that health bar because we're going to go straight through those robots. We're going to get this turtle guy, get another health bar, and go through them again. That way we have a good amount of health going into the boss fight. All we have to do is jump over that last guy, do a couple wall jumps up here. We can see our duck and our turtle friend unlocking those doors for us. And once we walk up here, it becomes cinematic and we see Dr. Doofenshmirtz, or at least this reality's version of him. And he tells us that we're going to have to fight the Platybot, which this guy, he is not the hardest guy to beat, but it is a pretty fun boss fight. Basically, he has 2 moves he can do. First, he can run through us, and secondly, he can jump, and we're just going to tank all of those hits. That's why we got the extra health, to make sure we wouldn't die there, and we defeat him for the first time, so that's boss number 1 done. And that means that's also our first level, so now we're moving on to the second one, and it's much of the same thing, but this time there are going to be these electric wires that we have to dodge. Well, at least sometimes we're going to dodge them, sometimes we'll go straight through them just like we do for the robots. But to start out here, I'm going to take this left path. There are going to be a couple robots. We kind of try to dodge them to not lose too much health, but it's not the biggest deal in the world. We can grab our dog friend, and then we're heading back. Barely dodged that laser. That was actually terrifying. And head down here where we're just going to get hit by that dude. It really doesn't matter too much. As long as you're keeping track of your health fairly well, we're usually not going to die. And I've played way too much of this game, so I know where every single health is, but we're going to do all those wall jumps up to our second dude, and we're going to use our magnet power again. Make sure we don't grab onto the wall. Before, we want to keep this health point at least as much as we can. I kind of messed that up. We lost it there, which should be fine as long as things don't go terribly, but that's going to be 2 more doors open for us. We can get that health right there. We're going to ignore that one. It would just take way too much time to get, and we can start wall jumping up this thing, and we're almost to the final bits of the level. For this part, I want to make sure I don't get hit by any of that electricity. Thankfully, get a bit more health and do this cool movement around this thing just to make sure we don't hit that too. Keeping your health is very important for this level, especially for this part. You can see all these guys trying to kill us, and there are also going to be 2 more healths right there, so we're back up to 4 for our second boss fight. Now it's time to fight the Platyborg for the second time, but here he has different moves. So we're going to go right up next to him. He's going to fly in the air and also swoop down, and as he's coming down, we also want to hit him, so we make sure to jump up, and he has 2 different moves. The second one is going to be this one where he shoots at the ground. This one's very annoying because it's a bit longer, so ideally we don't want to get it too many times, but we get it again. Unlucky. Still though, we should be able to finish him out right here. We just have to shoot him in the face a couple of times. Meanwhile, Doofenshmirtz is just laughing at us this whole time while we destroy him and his Platyborg. So that means there's only 1 more level for this game, and I gotta say, I just love the environment in this game and stuff. It just looks so good. You really do have to appreciate Flash games for different cartoons that were made. Like, they were a nice free game for people to play, and a lot of them turned out amazing. Like, Flash games made up so much of my childhood. But what we're gonna do here is just dodge all this electricity stuff, jump up this wall. We just have to get very high up. There's gonna be this dude who is blocking this pet, but we're just gonna go right through him. And you'll see that we have 3 health right now, and that's actually really important. I want to keep this 3 health as we come down here, and we want to get hit by these guys 2 times. So I'll get hit by the first guy and the person down there, and then we'll come to this tube, and we actually want to drop down this thing, grab this secret agent, and then die. So we'll jump into that guy, he'll kill us, and it will say try again. Now we can replay the level, but thankfully it doesn't put us back at the beginning. Instead, it puts us over here. So what we can do is now see that that door is open. We can grab the little dog guy and just continue on our way, saving a ton of time. Yeah, that's just a nice little trick we have for this game. And now all we have to do, since we've rescued the secret agents, is make it to the end and get to our final boss fight for this game. So I'll jump through a couple more of these robots and stuff, trying not to get hit as much as possible. They're just shooting at me. They are not the nicest people in the world. But finally, once we make it over here, we see a big doof sign. You gotta love Doofenshmirtz. Probably one of the best characters in the show, if not the best character. Like, remember when both of his parents didn't show up to his birth? That was an actual plot point. But now it is time for our final fight against this robot dude. And this time he can use any of the attacks that we've seen before. So he can do the flying attacks, he can do the running attacks, and we're pretty much just like last time gonna tank all the hits. Unfortunately, he's gonna use that attack right there. We want to see that as little as possible, but he'll do the running one. We can follow after him, followed quickly by a jumping one, but as soon as we take him out, that's gonna be time 650. Next up is Perry Widgets, and for this game, we play as both Perry the Platypus and Phineas and Ferb. Basically, Perry tricked Phineas and Ferb to go to a gadget factory. That way they can make an invention that he needs. So we start out as Perry and move gadgets and things like that. That way Phineas and Ferb are actually able to collect them. Because Phineas and Ferb don't have a double jump or any of that stuff. All they have is a single jump, so we gotta make it nice and easy for them. That's gonna be level number 1, and now for number 2, you'll see that there are these certain floors that will actually drop once you touch them. So we can use that ability to get these gadgets to go down there. All 3 will be right where we need them, and then all we have to do with Phineas and Ferb is jump to the top. Time for level 3. For this one, we gotta give a good path to our boys. I'm gonna place 2 force fields right there, one right there. That way that guy drops down. Sometimes you're not just moving the gears, you also have to move the stuff around the map. Oh, Phineas and Ferb also do have a pushing ability they can use sometimes, so that's nice too. Now for level 4, this level is one of the ones I sometimes mess up on if I'm not careful, but what I want to do is place those force fields there, go over here, place that at that point, and that's all we need to do for the parry part. Some of these puzzles, especially once we get to the later levels, are actually kind of confusing. I never played this specific game as a kid, but if I did, I probably would not have 100% completed it. Now for this next one, we want to hit that thing down. We want to get a couple of those guys down as well, and finally get our gear to go down. That way we have a huge path for Phineas and Ferb. Unfortunately, these guys couldn't just like create a jetpack or something. That would have been so much easier, but Perry has to do all the work instead. So for this next one, we'll place our first force field right by the door, one upwards, and one for this final gear, because Phineas and Ferb would have no way of getting over to there. Before we switch back to the boys, they can push over those guys, and it's kind of crazy the arm strength that Phineas has. Like, he does not care about these metal boxes. They're probably really heavy, but this guy's kind of a superhero. Then we want to go place a couple more force fields just in those 3 places. Drop down over to the door. That's going to drop all the things. You kind of get how this game goes. So for this one, we want to grab that guy first, push over that dude, push over one of these blocks so we can jump on it. Make sure we also push over that block. That way we can get up from that place, and then just jump to the end. You also gotta love Ferb just along for the ride, like he is for a lot of the show. Like, in reality, we're kind of just playing as Phineas, and Ferb is just doing his thing, you know, enjoying his day. But now for this one, I want to place all 3 of those force fields. That way we get different areas we can move. We come back to the boys, and they can nice and easy collect all of this different stuff. We will want to push that box over, grab that gear, and finally make it to the end, where it's another nice and easy door. And we only have 2 more levels at this point. And for this one, we're actually not going to use all 3 of our force fields, which that's actually something I forgot to mention. We only have 3 force fields, so you do have to be careful which ones you use. But we're going to use 2 in this level because Phineas and Ferb do not need any more. We can grab these 2, which are up at the top, then drop down, and all we have to do is push over these blocks. That way we can grab the last one and make it over to the other door. So time for the very last level, where for this one, we're going to come over here, place that force field between those 2 blocks, place one by the gear, and place one last one over there. Which you might have been confused about the one by the gear, but that's actually because we have to move over the block and make sure it doesn't just crush the gears. That would not be good. But finally, for the end, we can just move that over. We can get that to happen, which is kind of hilarious. And all we have to do at this point is jump over to the end. That is going to be our last level, and that's going to be time 434, which then Phineas and Ferb end up making a robot echidna, and Perry uses it as a back scratcher. Now we're on to the Transport-inators of Doom, the first 3D game for this video. And for this game, it starts with a little tutorial. I didn't want to talk over it because that would have been kind of rude, but with Ferb, the way to move faster is by constantly attacking. We also want to go very close to these screens. That way we don't activate them and can skip the tutorial, going a bit faster as well. We do have to watch this one though. But as soon as that one's done, we can just continue on to the end, and that's going to be all of the tutorial stuff, which is a little bit annoying when you have to go through it. But now all we have to do is make it over to the end, and that's going to be the very first level done. Now, basically the story behind this game is Phineas got captured and Ferb and Perry are trying to save him. So there are going to be Ferb levels and there will also be Phineas levels. For this one, we want to make it over to this part as soon as possible. Press on this button. That's going to make those guys go up, and we can make it over to the final Transport-inator and finish that level. So yeah, this is actually a really cool game, especially for something that was just free. Like, I'm actually amazed how many cool games Disney made for Phineas and Ferb. You really do have to appreciate them. But for this one, we're going to press that button, go down here. There are going to be a bunch of robots. We're just not going to worry about them at all, because instead we can go over to this Transport-inator, and here you see one of the issues with this game, which is that movement is kind of annoying. You can only move forward, backwards, or turn to the left and right, but the turning is very slow and just feels kind of weird, but that's kind of just a remnant of this being a web game. Then we're going to get this power up, which means that robots can't hurt us, and we're also going to be faster. Now with this guy, we want to make this jump over here, go to this Transport-inator, and do this jump onto this platform where we're going to press this button. That's going to move that over and allow us to go over to this one. Then we just have to do a couple more jumps until we press that button. That gets rid of that red force field, which would injure us if we tried to hit it. And we just have one last jump, which I have to make sure I don't mess up. These people keep trying to give me tutorials, but that's going to be all the Ferb levels, at least for now. Now we're switching over to our boy Perry, which with Perry, we have a wing power up. So we're able to glide in the air, and he can also do all the regular attacking like Ferb can do. And yeah, this game is very fun because you get to play as both of these guys, and they have different enough skill sets and different enough levels to make it interesting. But all we have to do is make it through here with Perry. Just like with Ferb, we do want to keep attacking. That way we can go faster and make it on to our level 2 for Perry. Where for this one, right away, we want to make it to this platform literally immediately. And now this level is completely cycle based. So all that's important is making the right cycle. That's why I'm not trying to rush through here. And instead, we can kind of just chill on that platform for a while. That way we're able to make this platform specifically. This is probably one of the slower levels in the entire game, but we just have to make it over here. That way, once these platforms start moving, we're easily able to make it there. Press this button, which gives us another platform. Just a lot of platform moving. But hey, at least Perry looks cute while we do it. Finally, we press one more button. That's going to launch us all the way over here. We try to dodge that robot, and we can just fly through this area, getting all these fans to move us up, and we make it over to the end. Now for level 3 on Perry. For this one, oh, this is a very interesting level. So it starts with us just doing some gliding, trying not to fall into the abyss. Then there's going to be a power up we want to make sure we get. We also want to dodge that door. It's not the biggest deal if you do hit it, but it saves a little bit of time. Then we get Doofenshmirtz talking to us.
You won't be getting across unless you can lower my gigantic cage. Why do I tell you these things?
Yeah, we also don't even have to lower the cage, which is funny. Instead, we could do that jump over there to just completely skip it. So yeah, unlucky for Doofenshmirtz. But now that we're over here, I want to jump over to this spot, and we want to press both of these buttons, which I think, yeah, we did not press the other button. That's really annoying. You know, that's sometimes just how it goes with this game. But once you press both of them, it's actually going to get that wall to go away. I just want to make sure I don't die right here. This level is very scary, but that's going to be our first section of levels done, and we're back to Ferb. For this one, we want to go over to this left area first, and we have to go through all of these moving platforms. There are these annoying cages, which really get on your nerves. But we want to activate this laser beam and also get rid of those boxes that are blocking it. So I will come over here. There's going to be a button at that spot. We just want to grab it, and then we get swept away, which is kind of unlucky, but actually doesn't matter because we were able to hit the button, so that's all that we really needed. Now we can come to the other side. We see some more of these guys. We want to step on this button for a little bit. By the way, you can't just press the button and leave right away. You do have to stay there for a second. That way the cages are able to move enough.
Statues are really weird, like freaky weird.
Okay, you don't have to call him freaky weird. That is very rude, but we want to jump on this first one. We're going to aim for his hand right there. Okay, I do have to admit, this statue is kind of freaky weird. Look at its eyes. But then we want to jump over to our first button, which is going to cause him to have laser eyes. And now we have to get the other one, which we can use these convenient guys to jump us up. I'm going to grab that button. And this one is a lot easier than the other one where we have to jump on his hand. We just have to go through here, try not to get hit by the sweeping robot, which that guy's just coming towards us while we're stuck in a cutscene. Still not the biggest deal, and we should be able to get gold because we just come down here. Now we got level 6 for Ferb, and this is a fun fun level. So what we're gonna do for this one is come over to this section, do a jump through there, come onto here, and there are gonna be a bunch of robots by this electricity power-up, so we wanna make sure we get it. That way we're not affected by them. And this jump is kind of specific because I do not wanna go through that portal. I actually don't know if it matters to go through that portal because I've never actually gone through it, but we wanna press that button, make sure it's still green, turn around, go down here, and we're going to move one of the giant robots. Now we want to make a huge jump over all this mist. This jump is always kind of scary, especially with that robot at the end, but all we have to do is hit those two buttons and make it straight over to the end. We're back to parry, which for parry right away, there are going to be a couple of these. Doofenshmirtz keeps trying to talk to us. Dude, I'm very busy and I always forget where to go after this guy. Oh, it's over to that spot. Yeah, for some reason, my brain just doesn't work. I think because there's a lot you actually do have to remember for this game. But now for this part, we have his evil conveyor belts, and we're just gonna go down to the bottom of them and then just try to dodge all of these things so I can jump around it, use our gliding ability, and we can just go up to the top trying to ignore all of these robots, do a couple of kicks, and make it over to the end. Then for level 5 on parry, we have all of these guys, and actually, I always forget for a second for this one as well, but we have a super cool trick which we're trying to do. So what we're doing is jumping backwards and trying to glide onto that green Transport-inator. Yeah, sometimes you can get this very consistently, sometimes it just does not want to work for you, but eventually we got it. We can get on this TV, then we want to jump up here and hit that button, which is going to cause us to get launched all the way over there, and we just have to make it over to the portal. Which, by the way, one thing I haven't even mentioned is how this entire game is voice acted, which is kind of crazy. Like, I'm pretty sure it's also the actual voice actors that did play in the show, so that's really cool. By the way, we did just completely skip past that robot part. We're not even going to worry about it. Then we come down here, go through one of these portals, go through that other one, and make it over to the end. So now we're at the final part. There are only a couple more levels for both Ferb and Parry, and for this one, we have these gigantic ice cubes, which are just going to keep popping up. Now, it's pretty easy stuff. I just want to jump through all those dudes and ignore these robots, which very much want to destroy me if they get the chance, but we want to jump on the sign. The physics on this sign can kind of be annoying just because it's so thin, but I want to make sure I'm facing the right direction, go over there, and that was a pretty good level. Skips a lot of the stuff you normally would have to do, and now for level 8 of Ferb, we have this gigantic robot, and this is literally just completely luck. You have to hope you don't get launched like that. Sometimes it's gonna happen. Do we get lucky the second time around? Please, game. Come on. You know what they always say, though? Third time is the charm. We finally actually got a good launch, and that was actually a beautiful launch. You gotta love it. But now it's time for hockey. So this is a pretty annoying minigame where there's just a ton of robots around, and there are a couple ways you can go about it. The first one is just going for the goal, like I tried to. How did that not work? But another way is to hit all of those different robots, which, that somehow counted as a goal. I think we just got the luckiest situation where the ball hit the robot and somehow it counted. I'm not going to complain. We're going to take it. There will be another hockey minigame where we're actually going to score a goal in a bit, but that was kind of funny. Anyways, we got some more parry levels. For this one, we're going through all of these different ice cubes, flying through this guy. I'm not sure how Doofenshmirtz is able to get all these things to float, but we got to go through a couple of these Transport-inators. Meanwhile, Doofenshmirtz is just trying to make fun of us. Rude dude, not gonna lie. But after we make it through a few, you can actually just skip that entire section of trying to dodge those icy blocks and make it straight over to the end. Now for level 8 of parry, this one is kind of fun because right away we're just gonna go to the down right, then we're gonna jump up this part. That way we can skip some more, go through that portal, and there's gonna be this whole dangerous part, but we can just fly through there. I'm gonna make my way down into this area. We'll just do a couple of fly-ins, then straight over here, and you'll see we're back in this area where it's time to play hockey again. So like last time, we can either choose to destroy some robots or just go for the goal. I'm going to destroy at least a couple of the robots just to make it a little easier for ourselves. And then I want to stick this puck right in here. So we want to be careful as we move this puck, make sure it doesn't get out of here. That way we can go hit it right there. It's going to count as a goal. And yeah, even though we did the goal through backwards, it still counts. And I'm not going to complain about it because we make it to the end. Now it's time for level 9 where we actually get to rescue Phineas. Or at least normally in this game you would rescue Phineas, but we do not do that at all. Instead, we're gonna go through a couple of these portals and we're gonna actually see Phineas. Like, you could literally see that Phineas is just captured in a cage waiting for rescue, but we're gonna completely ignore him. Instead, what we can do is line ourselves up, and do an absolutely perfect jump. If we get the double jump right, we skip past the level. Phineas never gets rescued. It's his problem. I'm just trying to make it to the end. And now we also have another really cool skip with parry. So for this one, we want to jump onto this thing, aim ourselves over here, and use that momentum to get onto that platform. It's very annoying to set up because you have to be precise with it, but there we go. Okay, thankfully that worked. And we hit that first button, which raises some platforms. Now we want to get hit by a couple more of these walls. Excuse me, walls, please don't do that. Hit me out of there. I appreciate that. Hit one more button, and that raises even more platforms. So we've done everything we need to do for this level, and at this point, we just need to defeat Doofenshmirtz. So we'll just go from platform to platform with parry, keep rotating our camera, try to dodge all those ice balls which are just coming towards us, and hit that button, which puts down one of those Transport-inators, hits Doofenshmirtz with it, and now he's stuck in a never-ending loop. And we're just gonna leave him like that, which is really unlucky, but that's gonna be time 1342. Now it's time for Gadget Golf. And this is definitely one of the better golf flash games I've ever played. So we got Phineas right here who's trying to play some golf. Meanwhile, Ferb is moving around these different machines and trying to stop him. But for this first one, we can get a nice and easy hole-in-one. All we had to do was wait a little bit. Then for hole number 2, I'm going to move downwards a little bit, and we want to make sure we have a good hit. There are going to be these freeze-inators, which are just trying to stop our ball completely. But if we have a good hit, then we'll be good to go. You'll see that it stops right about there. Some of these holes, it's just impossible to get a hole-in-one. So for this one, we have to do 2, but that's still 1 under par. Then for the third hole, I want to move upwards, move that up a tiny bit, and we want to get it in one of those buckets. And this part is very RNG dependent where this ball is going to go. For some reason, sometimes it just goes all over the place, but for this one, we actually got the hole-in-one, so you know this is a good run. Then for our fourth hole, there's going to be this hand thing with the big robot. We want to time that correctly. That way, we get full power over there. It's going to be able to shoot the ball out, and then we get another hole-in-one. So yeah, this run has actually been going insane. But for this next one, it's not going to be our same hole-in-ones. We want to get it through the pyramid guy first, get it over to this sandy area, and the hole is always going to be at a different part. So it can be in any one of these corners. For this one, we got it in the top right, so I will have to hit this ball a couple of times and move it through the sand. Unfortunately, the sand will slow down the ball a little bit, but we still got a pretty good one. Now for this next one, we want to aim this to go in this cannon and go in this monster's mouth. The ball goes all over the place, and it's actually kind of insane the different mini golf holes they made for this game. I mean, I guess it actually isn't that insane when you know Phineas and Ferb, but we just have to wait for that ball to come back here. Unfortunately, it's not going to be a hole-in-one, but still 2 under par. Then we have this one where you see that Candace is being forced to run this. Like, what are they doing to their sister? But we want to wait a little bit so we get that super amount of speed, and it's able to go to the hole-in-one right away while we don't have to worry about anything else. Poor Candace, though. You really do have to feel kind of bad for her. And now they're going to be UFOs and also these different things which will transport the balls to different places. What I want to do is hit it off a couple of these walls. It's going to get right in there. We get a UFO. I'm not sure how we're talking to aliens and all that, but we got a pretty bad drop there. This is another thing which is fairly RNG depending on what will happen. So I'm actually going to do a pretty light hit right here just to make sure we can maybe get the hole. Yeah, we just missed it by a little bit, but because we did a light enough hit, we can just do one more and make it still 1 under par. Now we only have 2 more holes left to do for this game, and this one is very quick. We just want to time it with that electricity. It'll go through there and of course be a hole-in-one. And for our very last one of these, we want to dodge all of this water and stuff. Make sure it doesn't hit our ball out of the direction it needs to go. We got it just between those things. That's going to be our final hole-in-one, and that's also going to be our time 340. Now it's time for Heroes of Danville, which is their collab with Marvel. And for this game, you can play as either Phineas or Perry, and we're going to choose Perry just because he's faster and he also has better attacks. As you can see, we can shoot them from very far away. And pretty much for this game, we're just killing a bunch of robots. But this speedrun is probably the simplest one we have in the game. Literally, all we do is go to the end of each section and just shoot repeatedly. Our eyes even will shoot behind us sometimes if the robots are behind us. So for a lot of these, we could just shoot backwards, meaning I'm not going to show too much of this game, but I will show the cool parts. And for that, of course, I mean the boss fights, because first of all, I mean, boss fights are cool. Like for this one, we get whiplash, but also we're going to save the power of our allies for these boss fights. Like for right here, we have Iron Man. This man is just flying around, sometimes shooting the dude. Okay, Iron Man, what are you doing? He's just walking around and doing nothing. You know, sometimes they help more than other times. Then for our next boss fight, we got this big guy who's called MODOK, and we got the Hulk to work with us. Hopefully this dude will actually do some more stuff. Okay, he's actually trying to attack him. And this boss is kind of a wimp, goes off screen, which is very rude, but we're just going to keep cornering him until we take him out. Then for boss number 3, we have Venom this time, and we also have our boy Spider-Man, which you already know me if you've watched any part of this channel. I love Spidey, and Venom is also hilarious because just like Spider-Man, he's just moving back and forth, barely even attacking us, and yeah, that was great. But then for the final level of this game, it's actually going to be a boss rush. So first of all, it's going to start out with Whiplash, and we're not actually going to use Thor for this fight. We're just going to defeat him like normal. But then for our second boss, we're actually going to get Thor, just because this dude is so annoying because he gets off screen and stuff, and you can see Thor going through him just using his hammer multiple times. That takes out the boy. Then for number 3, it's Venom time, and we're just using Thor again because he actually stays for that fight. But finally, for the final fight, Thor unfortunately is going to leave, and we got Red Skull. And this is the funniest final boss fight because this guy just comes up next to us and just attacks us with his head multiple times. It barely does any damage. It's kind of embarrassing, but finally we win the battle. And then as soon as we make it to the end screen, we can call off time. So you'll see you're a hero, and we got the time 10:34. Next up, it's time for Tower-inator. And if you know cartoon Flash games, you know that there's always one that's inspired by Angry Birds, and that's what this one is. But it's actually different enough to where I really like it. It's actually a pretty fun game. So what you have to do is throw the bowling balls at the different structures, and it's pretty hard to get used to because it's a little bit different than Angry Birds is. But for this one, all we have to do is move forward that guy. It's going to destroy all the different robots, and you just have to really be careful about what angle and what speed you're going to throw this at because it's very easy to get the wrong angle. Like, we almost messed that one up, but thankfully we actually got the gold trophy and we're good to go. And as we get through these levels, we're going to get more and more powers. Like right now we just have the bowling ball, which is all right, but definitely not the best thing. And that was surprisingly a good shot. I am very surprised about that one. Then for number 5, this is another huge structure. I just want to aim my mouse to be around there. That's going to give us a good amount of that stuff. And once these robots do get destroyed, they're going to help us destroy other ones. Unfortunately, we did miss just one of them, which does kind of suck, but I can get the perfect hit right there where it's going to give us a new gadget. And this one is going to be the pineapple. And at this point, there's pretty much no reason to ever use a bowling ball over a pineapple because it explodes. It's just much better. I mean, we will use the bowling ball again for later levels, but unless there is a very specific reason, it always makes sense to go over to the pineapple. It does kind of suck because you do have that long animation of moving to your different thing. But from here, we just have a boot that kicks a pineapple over and slowly destroys the tower. Got kind of unlucky with this one, but there we go. We get both of those explosions and we can continue. So for level 8, this thing is completely metal. I wonder who's making this because every once in a while, like right there, you see Dr. Doofenshmirtz just show his head. And what is he doing? What is the point of this tower? But not the biggest deal right now. I just have to focus on keep hitting these pineapples. And that last one is so annoying. Like, that robot is always in such a weird place, but we finally get that. That's our first third of the levels. And a lot of these are very similar, so I'll skip to the interesting ones. Like how for stage 11, we will get the boomerang, but we're just never going to use it. It's not that good. And instead, we're going back to the bowling ball because what we want to do is aim it perfectly. That way, it will hit that thing at the top of this tower. We did kind of mess that up, but it won't actually end up mattering. As long as something gets over the tower and hits those robots, we're good to go. And from here, the game pretty much gives us the exact same level like 5 times. So I will repeat that. We just hit the bowling ball. It's actually able to hit the thing that time. And yeah, we just repeat this over and over. Now, finally on stage 15, we get this robot mole guy who is the easiest thing to use in the world because all we have to do is detonate it whenever we want. And we can also use it to set off chain reactions. Like for this level, we're just going to hit multiple of those. Unfortunately, this level is always broken for some reason. So then we will have to finish it out with pineapple. But yeah, pretty much same old, same old. We're just going to keep using this mole for the future levels. And for stage number 20, we get another new thing, which this is going to be the freeze ray, and this thing goes insane. So right away you can use it. You don't have to wait at all. And then we're going to bring out this mole guy, and it will basically just allow those things to immediately disappear. So it's extremely overpowered, and we'll be using it for pretty much all the remaining levels. So for this next one, what we want to do is use one on that lower part and also the higher part before then we switch to the mole. That's going to make this entire thing extremely weak, just get destroyed nice and easy. And there's just one more we have to get, which we can just mole that guy, and please, game. Okay, that time it jumped, but third time's the try. There we go. Flash games. Now we're finally onto our very last level where there's just a ton of things going on. Right away, like usual, we're going to use the freeze ray, try to hit a couple of those things. Then we go over to our boy, the mole. Honestly, we just love the later weapons. They're so much better, but that's going to get rid of a ton of the stuff on the tower. So now we just have to complete the other stuff. I'm going to use another mole. That will get that guy, and hopefully, Game, come on. All right, one more mole, and this should be enough. Thank you. And that's going to be time 9:53. Now we're on to their Star Wars collab, and this is Agent P Rebel Spy. So it's like the last Agent P game, but this time everything is Star Wars themed, and there's a couple new weapons and better boss fights. But this is the first level, so you already know it starts out pretty simple. I want to dodge that platform right there, then keep heading down before we go over to the right. But you gotta appreciate this game and all the visuals in it. I was commenting on the visuals of the last Agent P game, but this one is even better with all the Star Wars stuff. I will admit, I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan in the world. I do love Lego Star Wars, but I never really watched the movies as a kid. But even then, I love this stuff. Like all the people, you see these people just encased in stone. That's kind of insane. And we just got our boy Perry going through. We get that panda the first time. It's like the last game where we have to collect 3 different people. And there's going to be this weapon, which we're not going to use right away. But you also got to appreciate the droids. They are hilarious looking. But we will come up to this path, dodge out of the way of that laser beam, go ahead, get that chihuahua, and we're heading back down. There's going to be a couple of these guys just shooting us, and like normal for these Agent P speedruns, we're pretty much just damage boosting through everything because it is not worth it to slow down. Finally though, we can come up to this spot. We're going to dodge out of the way of those lasers. We're going to find this last pet. You really got to feel bad for those guys just encased in that stone. Probably not feeling the greatest in the world. In the last game, they were just in cages, but in this one, they're literally getting like murdered. Anyways, we will make it over to the end of this first level, get that turtle to let us through, and we see our boy Doofenshmirtz come out, tell us that we can't use our wrist magnet anymore, and we have to defeat him in this thing. So this is a pretty insane fight, and what we have to do is use our other agents to give us weapons. This first one is going to give us a gun, and we can just go on top of this thing and keep shooting over and over again until he gets rid of that weapon, and we just have to survive. Doofenshmirtz is going to use this ability where we just have to dodge through those lasers nice and easy, and he does it twice. Meanwhile, the agents are also going to give us other things like health, but this part is pretty much just about waiting till he comes back out. We can get our next weapon, and with this one, we want to jump and then throw it at him, and we want to hit him both forward and backwards. That way we get the maximum amount of damage, and you'll see that did a pretty good amount. But it's time for his next attack, pretty much the exact same thing, and we will get our next gun. We want to use it on him. We're just barely able to hit him right there. So that was actually a pretty perfect fight. And that's going to be stage number 1. Next up, we're on to level number 2. It starts us right away with dropping down here. And then we want to keep going down because our first pet that we're going to have to rescue is going to be down here. We just go through this droid. There's going to be this guy. We rescue him and we continue on our way back up and to the right. I will also take that health right there just because health is especially important on the second stage for a couple reasons. And we really want to damage boost through people. Now we're coming up to this section, and we're going to do a really cool trick where we jump, dodge those lasers, jump again, and just barely are able to make it up here. We did get damaged, not the biggest deal in the world, and we're able to rescue that animal a lot faster than you would normally be able to. So with that, we can now come back through this section and just drop down over to the right, and that's going to be another open door for us. We are at this point only at 1 health though, which is a little bit dangerous, but we can just drop down here. There's going to be that health, and there's going to be our last animal nice and conveniently there, so we're going to grab that mouse. So we just got to make it to the end like last time. I'm going to do some wall jumps up here. We're going to ignore that part because our guy with the door is going to be straight up here. And yeah, another boss fight time, which this time Doofenshmirtz gets rid of the platforms that we were able to use last time. So it would be harder to damage him. Well, at least it would have been if we couldn't do this. Basically, if we just hit those red buttons, then we're able to hit them again. But this is kind of an awkward place for him to be. I'm just trying to aim this thing perfectly so we're able to get that done. And you also can't double jump while you have weapons, so we can't aim like that. We can double jump in between when the weapon is gone and when it comes back, but that's going to be first phase done. This time around, he's going to use this attack where we just have to jump over the eye to make sure we don't get hit by any of those lasers. And like last time, he'll do it a second time. Still the same easy stuff. But now we will get this gun, and I like the gun power up so much better just because you can get a ton of damage in extremely quickly. He's going to go a little bit high up, so I will do a couple of jumps, but that's second phase. And you already know, same old attacks. But for our final part of this fight, his eyes are just constantly trying to shoot at us. Unfortunately for him, I'm up here, so I don't know what you're aiming at. And we will just hit him a couple of times with that. Only one more level to go. Which in level 3, we start out at this staircase. We just got to jump over that. There's going to be this droid guy. We want to jump over him. Make sure we don't get hit, because again, like usual, keeping your health at least as high as possible is pretty important. it with how much damage boosting we're going to do. But there's going to be the pet right there. We can also grab that health pack, so we're back up to 4. And we'll be heading down and to the right. We want to take this upper path, then we can continue on our way. Just go right over there. Shout out to that cat just chilling there. It's kind of nice that the other agents are actually doing a little bit more stuff for us in this game, unlike last game where they were kind of just chilling out. But we're going to be coming down here dodging these droids because we only have 2 health right now, and we just have to go up from here where there's going to be another one of these pets. We can continue on our way jumping. That's going to put us down to 1 health, but we should be good to go. We got this frog guy which we can go through, and I actually want to be kind of safe right here because we have so little health. Now pretty much from here we just want to drop down just 1 time where there's going to be a couple of these dudes, one in a pit and one up there. And it's very nice that we have 2 health right now because otherwise we would have to be very careful not to get hurt. But instead, I'm going to just take that health pack and then we can start climbing up this thing. Just do a quick damage boost because it doesn't really matter and get through our 3rd door. Now from here, I can't get hit, so I will wait this out a little bit, dodge that laser and grab that health pack, and we should be good to go from here. I'm going to try to keep my health up as much as possible, but we can just continue our way. We're only going to take 1 of those health packs because we don't really need the other, and it's time for our final fight, where I agree with Doofenshmirtz. Why can't we just leave him to galactic domination? Kind of rude of us. But now is going to be another one of these fights, but they do change it a little bit at least. We still do have to get our platforms back, but this time he's going to switch up his movement. You see that he just hides away, and we also get this gun instead of having to do all the damage with that scythe thing. So we can use that to our advantage because the gun is always just going to be so much better damage. We'll take that out. We can just start spamming against him, and we have so much health that I'm not really worried about getting hit. And I just want to keep these platforms up as much as possible, especially because this dude is just hiding behind his shield. I don't even know why he comes out at all. Like, to be fair, you could just hide behind there the whole time and not even worry about it. But for his final new attack that he's going to add in, it's this one. And it's kind of fun to dodge, but he's a little high on this one. I don't even know if we can dodge it. Yeah, unlucky. But he will get to his final phase. We got to get this thing, which we're just going to hit up. And then we're just going for multiple attacks. And then as soon as we get the final hit on him, that's going to be good. And also time 9:18. We saved the galaxy. Now it's time for Dimension of Doom. This is another 3D game, but this time we can play as other people. We can choose Phineas, Ferb, Candace, or Perry, and we'll be switching between them just on what's the most convenient. This first one, we're being Phineas, and I'm not going to lie, he looks very strange in 3D, but we don't have to talk about that. You know, he's just walking his way over. And also in this game, we now have a gun. The gun just auto-aims on people, which is really nice. And finally, to finish out this first level, we're just going to press that button, be able to get through there, and make it over to this minecart, where Phineas just sits there with an empty look on his face. Yeah, that's the entire level, but now we're on to the actual level 1 after the tutorial. This is again going to be Phineas, but don't worry because right after that, we'll begin switching our characters. And to start out, we're going to be using these teleporters. There's going to be something that hits us, not the biggest deal. And we can also grab this electricity power-up, which makes it so that robots can't hurt us. We can just go straight through them. We'll start jumping through all this lava and stuff, which, by the way, these kids could very much die during this entire game. Oh, also one other thing, if you haven't noticed, this is another game that is based off the Phineas and Ferb movie, which is why Candace is dressed the way she is. But now we're actually going to be using Ferb. We got Dr. Doofenshmirtz talking about something. I don't really care. And we'll just be jumping through. Sometimes it doesn't actually make sense to go through those portals. Like here, we don't really need to. And instead, it's going to be faster just to stay in this regular world, because basically how the portals work is they switch you to like an alternate reality or something. I don't know. It will just switch up the stage and have different things in each area of the map. You'll see what I mean with some future levels. But we're going to make that jump, make it straight over to our next minecart, and just like Phineas, Ferb has a look of I don't even know how to describe it on his face. But for level 3, it's time to actually use Candace, and there's more lava just trying to murder us. Also, we're gonna have to do a very dangerous jump straight over here. Yeah, Candace very much could have died, but I guess she's used to it. And now we'll just go straight over here, get that checkpoint, and we gotta start going on these boxes, which how aren't these going on fire actually now I think about it? Maybe this is just like cheese sauce that's down there. Meanwhile, Doofenshmirtz is just making fun of us, saying that the part's tricky and he doesn't want to distract us. Man is literally trying to murder our people. But after we make it through this one last portal, we can now wait out this hammer because I don't want to get knocked out by it. And there's all these robots. These guys are super annoying because they'll just knock you into different places. But we can destroy everything through there and make it to this one last minecart. That's not the last level, but it is the last minecart we're going to, because for this next one, it's time for Perry. And Perry, gotta love how adorably he walks, moving his tail back and forth. You know, he's a platypus. Platypuses don't really do much. much. So he's just doing his thing, walking through. We'll go through this first portal that will open up this area. We can start jumping through that stuff, and there will be another convenient portal over here. Yeah, sometimes in these levels, there's a lot more to say than other parts, but there are going to be some really cool tricks we will be using in some of the later levels. For this one, we just have to fly over there, destroy a couple of these robots so they hopefully don't push us places like that guy, super annoying. But get back into that portal, move these guys out of the way. Okay, excuse me, sweeping robots. The sweeping robots are some of the most annoying robots in the game, but we can finally glide through this last part, make it through there, and just run straight at this point until finally we make it to this door. And yeah, we're done with minecarts because now we're just going on elevators. That leads us on to level 5, and we're going back to Phineas, but we're not going to be Phineas for very long. And that's because this is the quickest level in the game. Literally all we do is jump up here, and you're supposed to go through some portals and do this whole confusing part, but I'm not going to worry about that. We could just take the upper path. And that's the entire level. Yeah, I gotta love beating the level way faster than intended. Next up will be level 6. We got Ferb, and this will actually be a pretty long level because there aren't any cool tricks like in the last one. But there are some parts I really like about this level and some parts I'm really annoyed by because this level has lost me so many runs. Now, what we want to do in this part is get that power up, make the jump over here, and thankfully with the power up, we can't get hit by anybody and knocked off into the goo. Then we make a couple of these jumps. They're kind of dangerous and also very scary. This game, as it is a web game, doesn't have the greatest movement, and sometimes it will just eat your jumps, and we could very easily fall into the pit and die, which obviously that would be a reset, so I have to be very careful about this. We're now going to go on these pipes. That way we can skip the moving platform, go through another portal, and now we have to make it through here where there's a lot of these moving guys and a lot of people trying to knock me off, but we will just make it straight through until this final one of these elevators. Okay, and now this part's so annoying because there's a lot of things that can just knock you into the goo here, and there's not really much we can do about it. We just gotta hope it doesn't happen. So I'll walk my way through. There's a couple of hammers. I'm gonna wait out this cycle just to make sure they don't kill me there. And finally, at the end, we should just be able to shoot through everything. We can explode everything actually with one of those bombs, and Ferb made it through. Only 2 more levels. Which for level 7, of course, we're back to Candace, and we have a really cool trick. So what we're gonna do is actually jump on this light and then jump on this thing, which barely has enough collision to allow us to skip a big part of this level and go over here. Now, I don't actually want to click that button. That was a mistake, but it happens. It only loses like a couple seconds. And we can make a fly all the way over to this elevator thing. Now from here, I will just keep jumping. We're going through this goo, and we have to do a really long jump to make it onto this thing. There's barely enough collision to go there. And we got these swinging hammers. These guys are really annoying, so I'm actually going to play this pretty safe by going off into the corner and then jumping over from there. I've gotten knocked off by those guys way too much to not do that, but we destroyed the first reactor, and now we have to go to the other dimension. So I will walk my way over through here, make our way through that thing, destroy a couple of these robots, get them out of our way, and do pretty much the same thing, which it is just waiting out this hammer until finally we jump over there, make it very cleanly through, and we're pretty much good to go at this point. At least in the sense that we're not going to be able to die, which is nice, but we still have to beat this part of the level, so we're going through all these robots being super annoying, and we finally make it over to the end. And of course, for this last level, we're choosing our boy Perry to finally finish out this stuff. So Perry's going to go through, there's a couple of these hammers, and I hate these hammers. I messed that up, but thankfully we are still alive. Okay, that could have gone a lot worse. And please, game, please. Okay, we are still alive. We haven't fallen into the goo. That was extremely lucky, but now we can just go through. We'll go through that portal. There will be a couple robots on this side. I want to make sure they don't sweep me off any ledges, so I will just keep destroying them. But we made it to the final part of the game. So what we have to do here is destroy 2 more reactors, and it just ate my jump. Okay, thankfully there was a checkpoint right there, but that was kind of dumb. And now we want to jump on this thing, jump again, and we can destroy this first reactor. Before then, we want to die to go back to the last checkpoint. So now we're back to this regular dimension, and all we have to do at this point is 1 more of those jumps, hit this last reactor, and that's going to be time 827. We did it, and we saved the universe, or something like that. Now on to our second to last game, Escape from Mole-Tropolis. And for this game, basically Candace got captured by a ton of moles, and we have to go and save her. And to go deeper into the ground, we have to collect a bunch of these diamonds. And this is surprisingly actually a really fun game. I really enjoy it. So we can also use some other stuff. Like you'll see we just picked up a flashlight. And every once in a while, there will also be this music, which we can play. And then all the moles start dancing. Yeah, they cannot stop their urge to dance to the Phineas and Ferb theme song, which is absolutely hilarious. And we can also use a flashlight right there, which will stun them. So we want to combine those 2 different stuns to make sure we can go as fast as possible. The flashlight animation is kind of annoying, but we'll use it again right there, and you'll see we got enough diamonds to be able to go back to the drill and go to the next level. So all we have to do is walk past these other moles, and we're going to keep going down. Which meanwhile, we get to see what Candace is doing. She's getting taken away by moles. I don't even know why they took her, but she says she bet we already drilled down to level 2. And we have. We're actually making pretty good time. So for this next one, I want to head down here right at the beginning. And it's really just about choosing the best path to both get enough power-ups and make sure none of these moles can kill you, along with the most effective ways to get diamonds. So we will have this flashlight. We can use it on that mole right there. And you kind of feel bad for them. Look at their eyes whenever you flash them. Like, they look so much in pain. But to be fair, they're trying to murder us or something like that and literally steal our sisters, so I guess we can't feel too bad. Now, what I'm going to do here is wait out this mole. We can go down here. We can grab this music. That's going to cause all of them to dance uncontrollably again. Oh, another little factor about this game is Phineas and Ferb do switch their locations based on who's further in each direction. Like, right now, we're Ferb, but if we were to go the different direction right here, now we're playing as Phineas. So it's kind of a little thing, but something to actually keep track of. And finally, that is going to be all the diamonds we need there. And conveniently, the drill is going to be right here as well. So all we got to do is move over, and that's level 2 done. And now Candace is getting put in Mole Man jail. Really unlucky, but we're probably in level 3. I really like how they do these transitions, by the way. They're really fun. But for this one, we're going to grab that diamond first, and we're not going to go down that pole because you have to go all the way to the bottom, and there's so many good diamonds that we can get beforehand. We will take the pole halfway through it, though. We'll grab that music, and now they're dancing while we're able to do our thing. We'll also get this flashlight, and hopefully these guys will keep it dancing for long enough. It looks like they've stopped, so I will use my flashlight there. Also, getting the bones and stuff, it doesn't actually matter for the game. If you want to 100% it, you can get them, but for our purposes of any percent speedrunning, if they're on our way, we'll take them, but we don't really need to. Now we just need a couple more of these diamonds. We only need 3 more, so we got to go find some good locations to get them, and one is up here. All we got to do is grab those, but unfortunately, there is going to be a mole man right here. Thankfully, you can't actually die in this game. Anytime you get captured, all that happens is you lose some points, which doesn't really matter for us since we're speedrunning. And as soon as we make it over to the drill, we're halfway done with the speedrun. Meanwhile, Candace really wants a phone, and she wants her lawyer, which fair enough. But I also don't think the mole men care about lawyers or the law system at all. And this level is very fun because it is super fast. All we have to do for this one is go up a little bit, go to the left. We'll wait for that mole to move out of the way. We'll keep going, and we might as well also grab this flashlight just because it's conveniently there. But all the diamonds we need are going to be in this part. So this level is just nice because I don't have to do much thinking. All I have to do is find my way into here. That's going to be all the diamonds we need. And now we just want to make it to the end of this map. So there is going to be some music there. I kind of wanted to wait it out, but I actually don't think we need it. We can just continue on our way. Yeah, we did not need that at all. I kind of wasted a bit of time, but we still made it down. And this time, Candace is really missing Jeremy, and then she starts talking about Jeremy and decides to bring out her journal so she can talk about him. Only 2 more levels to do. You can see we're getting really deep in the ground. I'm pretty sure this is fairly dangerous, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure everything Phineas and Ferb do is kind of dangerous. Now for this one, I want to take this right path first. We'll use one of our flashlights, and a lot of these diamonds, unlike the last level, are really scattered throughout the entire map, but there is going to be another flashlight over here. And now we want to make our way to this direction. We can use a flashlight. There's a couple of these guys. Don't mind if I do. And yeah, these are just annoyingly scattered. They really could be in a better way. We will try to dodge this mole man, though. Just make sure he's not able to get us. And there is going to be a diamond down here. There's one guy who's running past. We kind of have to wait out this guy. And yeah, it's pretty much just about playing smart because we don't want to have to go through the animation of throwing a bone if we don't need to. It's not the biggest deal because it won't kill us, but hey, we're trying to go fast and we can get those final diamonds right there. Meanwhile, there is a ton of music going on, so these guys are dancing. I don't think we have enough time to make it all the way back though, unfortunately. Or maybe we do. Okay, we should be fine. We just gotta wait out this dude. He's doing his thing, and there's going to be one of those poles there, so we make it to the drill for the 5th time. Meanwhile, Candace just keeps going on about how much she loves Jeremy, and they're falling asleep. So now final level time, and for this one, I will wait out this guy. Maybe I shouldn't have. And I also don't know how I didn't get hit there, actually. The hitboxes on games like these are weird. It is a Flash game after all. But we'll follow this guy. There's some music there, and I definitely do want to get that music, so we will cause that to go off. Then get a couple of the diamonds over here. The controls were being weird right there. We'll grab a couple of those. We'll grab a flashlight, and there is a very small amount of diamonds in this level, so we have to make sure we get pretty much all of them. But we also got our flashlight to help out with that. We can go over here, and hopefully this guy will not... Oh, there he goes. Mole Man alert. Yeah, a little time loss again, but thankfully we still have the fossil bag, so it doesn't really matter. Just lost some points. And there will be some music here. We'll go grab some more stuff. Probably should have taken the upper path first. No, actually, this is probably fine. So we can go up here. We can get this stuff. There's also going to be this flashlight and one more diamond up there. Now we can go over here. We can use a flashlight, be able to go back down, get a couple more of these diamonds, which are just more on the right side. And yeah, I definitely could have done this better, but we are almost done with it at this point. There's this annoying guy, but I see exactly where my drill is, so I know the location we want to go. We will take these diamonds, then we'll go down this pole. We just have to go to the drill, and that's also going to be time. 7:59, so it's a sub 8. Meanwhile, we see a video camera, and it turns out that while Candace was going over everything about Jeremy, all the mole men went insane. So unlucky. For our final game, we have Gadget Golf Winter Edition, and this Gadget Golf is actually a lot different than the other one, because in the other one, we had a lot of strategies that would just work every single time. But in this game, there really aren't those, just because it's a lot crazier. So we kind of just have to play and react to anything that happens and just try our best. So I actually really like this game just like the other one. I just think these mini golf games are some of the best that Flash games have to offer. I'm not going to lie, but we get the hole-in-one right there. By the way, since we are on the last game, I do want to say, as a kid, I loved Phineas and Ferb, so thank you for the creators for making it. I doubt any of them will ever see this video, but if you do, I appreciate it. You know, Phineas and Ferb is one of those shows that there are some things from it that I still think of to this day. You know, one of those things I can talk about is for SpongeBob. If you ever heard him going, "Who put you on the planet?" Ugh. Yeah, that just constantly plays in my mind. And for Phineas and Ferb, you have things like the doobie doobie dooba, or just the what you doing, you know, those types of things. They just pop in my mind pretty oftenly. So yeah, just what a great childhood show. I remember watching this with my siblings. It was a great time. But now it's time to finish out some speedruns. So we got this one where we got elves. I don't even know how we hired these people. Are we paying them benefits, and is this legal? I'm not exactly sure, but they do seem to be having a fun time. I mean, they're snowboarding all over the place, and we just have to hit this ball through there, which is perfect. And almost got the 2-hit. Not the biggest deal that we didn't. Like I said, that's kind of just how this game goes. All we have to do is react to what we got. So I will aim that guy over there, and that's going to be the par. Now for this next one, it's the hockey level. And for this, I want to be very specific about it. I'm waiting until one robot moves. You saw that guy in the middle who was moving left right at the end. I waited until we moved so I could get the perfect hit and get a hole-in-one straight through there. That thing is very easy to mess up, so I'm happy I got it. And we got this gingerbread man with this open door. This level has caused me so much pain just because it's so easy to mess up. So the beginning, not bad at all, obviously. But then we have this part with this moving thing. It's just going to move our ball all over the place. Please stop, game. Yeah, you can start to see why this level is annoying. We have 105 points already, but thankfully it put us over here. But now the second part that's annoying about it is these guys in the middle. And thankfully we're actually in an amazing spot. So all we have to do is putt right over there and still through under par. Now just 2 holes left. For this one, we got Yetis and we also got Santa. So we're going to aim this exactly right there. That way we can take this middle path. And now what you could do is try to time this correctly with all the candy moving, but I don't want to do that because I've done that before and just completely lost runs. So instead we're going to hit it off the side. Unfortunately, that didn't work, so it will be an extra hit, but still not the biggest time loss. Dang, that is so sad though. It is right next to that one, but all we're going to do with that, put it right there, nice and easy. And we have the final bit of this game. For this one, I'm just going to aim it right there. I like putting it a little bit off to the side, and we'll just see where it goes. That looks like a pretty good position, I'm not going to lie. Then all we have to do is aim one more time, hit it right there. It'll hit off the train, and that was actually amazing. Okay, that's time, 3:51. And now Phineas and Ferb give a present to Candace. She is so happy. She says, "Hey, a putter. Does this mean you'll finally let me play tennis with you, Candace? Come on, man." But all right, subscribe if you enjoyed. Bye.